The first time I saw her face change, I thought I was imagining it. We were in the elevator. Me, Daniel, and a woman from the 4th floor holding a grocery bag. She looked at me, then at him, then back at her shoes like the floor numbers had suddenly become the most interesting thing in the world. Daniel said, "Hey," in this clipped, too casual voice. She said, "Hey," back without looking up again. The doors opened. She practically ran out. I remember laughing about it. "Did you sleep with your neighbor or something?" I joked. Daniel laughed too. Too loud. Too fast. I should have known then. But I didn't want to know then. I'd flown in for a week, my first visit to his new apartment since he moved for the job. Long distance is supposed to make the time together sweeter, right? Every text, every call building up to this. I'd planned outfits. I'd planned what I'd say when I saw him at the airport. I did not plan for Sarah. That was her name. I learned it 3 days into my trip when we passed her in the hallway and Daniel said it without thinking. "Hey, Sarah!" And she flinched. Actually flinched, like he'd raised a hand to her. After that, I started watching. Not because I'm paranoid, because something in my body already knew before my brain caught up. She avoided the mailroom when we were there. She took the stairs instead of the elevator if she saw us waiting for it. Once, at the building's little courtyard, she turned around mid-walk and went back inside the second she spotted us on the bench. By day 5, I couldn't sit with it anymore. "What happened with her?" I asked. Not a question. A statement with a question mark stapled to it. "Who?" "Daniel. I don't know what you're talking about." I stared at him until the silence did what my words couldn't. "Okay, she's just weird. She's an awkward person. That's just her personality." I let that sit there too. Let him hear how stupid it sounded out loud. "There was a building party," he finally said, "like 6 weeks ago." And then it came out in pieces. Pieces he clearly thought would sound smaller if he handed them to me one at a time instead of all at once. They'd talked, they'd had drinks, they ended up back at his place. Things got physical. He wouldn't say how physical at first, kept saying it didn't go that far, kept saying I stopped. Like stopping was the noble part of the story. Like I was supposed to thank him for the restraint. "I felt guilty," he said. "Because of you? I stopped because of you." I sat there, feeling something cold spreading through my chest while he reached for my hand like guilt was a kind of gift he was giving me. "I should have told you sooner. I know that. But..." He stopped talking, got up. I thought he was going to get water or pace or do something normal with his hands. He came back with a ring. "I've had this for weeks," he said. "I was going to do it differently. But I don't want this to be the thing that ends us. I love you. Marry me." I want you to understand what that moment actually was. It wasn't romance interrupting a hard conversation. It was a man watching his lie collapse and reaching for the nearest tool to stop me from walking out the door. He used a proposal as damage control, like a fire extinguisher he'd kept by the bed just in case. I didn't say yes. I didn't say no. I said I needed air, and I left the apartment, and I knocked on a door on the 4th floor. Sarah opened it already looking like she knew exactly why I was there. "I'm not here to yell at you," I told her. "I just need to know the truth. All of it." She let me in. She told me everything Daniel hadn't. The party, the drinks, going back to his place. How far it actually went, which was further than I stopped, implied. And then she told me the part that mattered more than any of it.
"I can't."
Afterward, he was just cold, she said, like a switch flipped. I texted him the next day and he barely responded. When I finally asked him about it in person, he said, she paused like she still couldn't believe she was repeating it. He said he already got what he wanted and that he was already taken anyway. Like that was supposed to make it okay. Like I should have known better than to expect anything else. Got what he wanted. Already taken. Like I was an inventory tag. Like she was a transaction he'd already closed out. I thanked her. I meant it. She didn't owe me honesty, and she gave it to me anyway. Then I walked back upstairs, packed my bag in 11 minutes, and booked the next flight home while Daniel stood in the doorway saying my name like repetition might rewind the last hour. He proposed to keep me from leaving. I left anyway. I'm home now. The ring is wherever he put it down. I genuinely don't know, and I genuinely don't care. People ask if I regret not staying to talk it through. I don't. Some conversations end the moment the truth finishes arriving. He thought a proposal could erase a confession. All it did was prove exactly what he was capable of.